Found out that Leonardo did not associate with normal people. He associated with people that talked of gears and levers. You understand? His friends were like himself. And I found out that nobody ever really invented anything when I read about Tesla and the wireless, which I explained before. I found out that nobody invented the wheel. A log fell on another one and rolled. And then they began to put a lot of those logs under heavy stones. That's how they built the pyramids. But the metaphysicians think they levitated the stones into position.
You couldn't possibly do that by rolling it over logs. The logs would be ripped to shreds and ground into the sand. What you're saying is not possible.
Okay. Are you an engineer?
I want to see you prove it.
Well,
I want to see you show me on paper how they could have done it.
Hold off a while until I get to how we change people. Did you understand how I changed the Klan? The Arabs.
Reason?
Yeah.
Reason.
No, example, not reason.
Example, okay.
Manifest with the balloon rubbing. Examples of metal with a memory. I did not say take my word for it. I try to show you. So I can't show you that. I'm sorry about that. But
I work in construction, and that's very possible. Actually, you get a couple of those logs, it's very possible. It'll hold the weight.
Consider the
of the stones
in Egypt and try to do it.
They tried to recreate it at a third in Japan. They could not. So we don't have the technology to recreate pyramids yet. So
well, who's to say that they didn't have anti-gravs? How else could they have done it?
Let me tell you that people roll things in the building. I got books here on the pyramids, how they were built, and it shows the rolling logs.
But how about the precision cutting? To this day, we don't cut.
Yeah, okay.
We don't cut that
I
exactly.
can answer that. Give me a chance. The building material of the prisms are like sandstone, and they're so close together, so accurate, you can't even stick a business card in between those bricks. Did you know that?
yeah, right.
So the scientists were very curious about that. How did they make it so accurate? And they whipped slaves and they pulled it up and back over one brick over there, and it ground together. That's how they did it. They moved the bricks up and back with slaves pulling them on both sides, up and back until they meshed very close together. That sounds more plausible than metaphysics. The metaphysician invents ways. They look at the person, they can see the aura of a person, they claim. You know, so I had different metaphysicians see different auras, not in the presence of a single metaphysician, and the auras were different. Their conclusions were different. You have to know how to do research. For example, psychologists sometimes get together and they say, we're going to try to find out if mental telepathy is real. I asked them at the APA, American Psychological Association, how would you do that? They said, well, we check it out to see if they really can mentally read other minds. I said, how would you know it's not done with a process level? They said, well, we'll put you in charge. No, you have to study systems first. How magicians make elephants disappear. You know, they can do that. And they take a lion, and he's in a cage, and the lion gradually becomes a young girl lying on the bed. You ever see that? You put a mirror, a glass panel, at 45 degrees. The lion's here, and the girl is here. She's reflected in the position of the lion. If you stand near a glass like that, a window, when the sun is going down, and you put a flashlight on your face when it's dark around, you'll see a flashlight image of you 10 feet away. Whatever distance you are from the glass, you'll see a reflection of you. It's done by mirrors, okay? 10% silver mirrors. And anyway, if you don't know those things, you can't do research. You can't find out. And no one, as far as I know, ever told us in advance the Japanese are going to attack Pearl Harbor. every metaphysician, telepathist, New York Times, one page, full page on metaphysics. The position of the stars when you were born, your date of birth, and one column on science. There are so much crap in the newspaper that are unreal, but most people like to believe that. They like to believe that after you die, you're up there eternally, and you have eternal bliss. What a wonderful thing, or is it? After you were up there for 3,000 years, you never die. You live eternally. If you're up there, say, 4,000 years, you wouldn't want to talk to anybody, because they couldn't say anything new. Think about it. Because of look, I'm engaged. I've heard that shit all my life. You would find people painfully boring, especially if you're 5,000 years old. If you lived eternally, you wouldn't even talk to anybody. Can you understand what I'm saying? If you can't, let me know. Because we are dumb today. We live just long enough so our stupidity reaches the peak, and then we die, which is fortunate. Because people don't understand. I knew an Italian guy whose kid wouldn't listen to him, so he took his belt off and he whipped the bell at him, because he's from Sicily. That's the way you teach the child. He says, oh, come on, eat, there's a good food. He talked that way because speaking Italian and learning English, the combination makes that dialect. Come on, eat, there's a good food. If you brought up in Ireland, the lad's Irish. He's a fine Irish boy. You brought up in Australia, how are you, mate? See, you pick up that. But you feel it's naturally you. It isn't you. None of us here are the person we would have been. We're the person we're made. Our parents make you a Jew or a Swede or this or that. The environment you're brought up in teaches you to wear earrings. There's nothing the matter with earrings, but think about it. If a man came from Mars and he saw this on my wrist, he'd say, what is that? I said, well, I can't keep time as this can. It's better than I am at keeping time. That's all it does. So I have an appointment at 4 o'clock. This is more apt to be accurate than I am. So I said, what's those things hanging from your wife's ear? I said, well, it's a nothing thing, really. It's ornament. And then he said, why does she wear it? Because it's normal for women to wear that. But now it's becoming normal for men to wear that. And men stick silver through their tongue, the hoop. They'll wear earrings. Or they'll wear a lot of beads on there. That's normal to the culture. But it's a nothing thing when you think about it. So, you know what I mean by a nothing thing? Okay.
Jacque, I have a question.
I saw those eyeglasses, I knew he'd say, what are those things? He said, well, my vision is not as good at close up or distance, and this helps. He says, that's interesting. But why do you wear your hair in braids? Well, you don't want it to get caught in anything. Well, that might be all right. But what are those things for your nose? It's a nothing thing. You want to identify with your culture, so you wear those things.
So what would we tell him is a something thing?
A something thing, eyeglasses, is a something thing.
But you just said it was a nothing.
No.
No, he said that it's
No, another something thing is in the earrings of the future, there'll be a chip, microchip. And so if you're in an accident and you're wheeled into a hospital, that chip will bring all your medical records out. The doctors will say, what happened? Anybody in your family have a heart trouble?
So stupid.
No, all your records come out immediately with that chip. So earrings can become something. Now, I asked Yehudi, I asked Yolta Menuhin, she's a concert pianist. I said, what is music? Because I don't know what it is. I like it. I love classical music. I used to listen to it all the time. She says, frankly, I don't know. I said, you're a concert pianist. Ask your brother. Her brother was Yehudi Menuhin, world famous violinist. What is music? He said he didn't know. He knew that most people liked it. I said, ask the instructor who guided Yehudi Menuhin. And he wrote a letter to me. He said, music is a series of sounds so arranged as to produce a pleasing effect. I said, do you like hard rock? He said, hell no. I said, then it isn't that. What is it? It's something you get used to. If they sing enough smoke lookies, they're good for you and they make you feel sophisticated. Well, everybody sees movie stars smoking lookies. They are cancer sticks. They will produce cancer in 15 to 20 years if you smoke cigarettes. And you'll die a horrible death. That's the truth. So when I was on Larry King, I spoke about that. He said, well, what do you think of American automobiles? I said, look, if you have an airbag in front of you, if the car gets hit on the side, your head goes through the glass, the whole inside has to be an airbag. Do you understand what I'm saying? He said, why don't they do that? I said, no, I can't answer that. The world is, I didn't say fucked up there. I said, the world has suffers from semantic disturbance.
But we're doing what you talked about at the beginning, that slowly but surely with each new generation.
I'm trying to tell you in advance what can be done to stop
quicken it
war.
up. Oh, okay.
Okay. To stop war, you have to declare all the Earth's resources as a common heritage of all the world's people. When few nations control most of the Earth's resources, other people will try to get water or whatever they can from you or take it away from you. If the whole Earth worked together, if we didn't build armies and navies, they consume most of the cash of taxation. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Armies and navies do that. They consume most of the resources of the Earth. 400 ships on the bottom of the sea loaded with steel, World War II. England bombed Flat. Germany bombed the hell out of Flat. Add up all those costs of the soldiers, the airplanes, the aircraft carriers, the warships. We could have built hospitals all over the world, universities all over the world, wipe out the slums all over the world. You know, war is a racket. It's a big business. People make millions.
Right.
When they draft you to put up your life for this country, listen to me carefully now, they should conscript all the war industries so no one makes a buck out of war. Everything is on the same basis of pay as yours. You're a soldier, you put up your life for the country, he should not make money selling machine guns, battleships, aircraft carriers. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
All war is phony. The book is called War is a Racket, written by Smedley Butler, a top military man. Don't take my word for it. Get the book. War is a Racket by Smedley Butler. Another book you should get, which should be in every school, 100 Million Guinea Pigs. I don't remember the author's name.
Jacque, I have a question regarding behavior and environment. Now, some people in my family, like, they regard homosexuality as like an evil thing, and they say, oh, homosexuals are like so much below us, and you know, whatever. They say all this kind of negative stuff about them. Now,
you understand, if you were brought up in Japan, you'd probably keep your hand and you growl when you see people. You understand that?
Yeah.
If you were brought up by the headhunters, you'd be a headhunter. Now see if you understand this. If you have 4 effeminate women, women move differently than men. They say, oh, did I see a gorgeous hat? I'm exaggerating a little bit. They move, their facial expressions, everything. If you bring up a normal boy with a very effeminate woman, and women only, no husband, no male identified, they tend to say, I'd like to go to the movies, just like a woman. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. That's awful. They pick that up just like, I want to know if that was true though. Oh, I thought that. How do I know I'm not projecting? So I ran cowboy pictures for 10 little girls for a week and a half or 2 weeks, learning about how long. And the little girls would walk around with their hands like that and wow. Do you understand what I'm saying or not?
Mm-hmm.
If you bring up a little girl in Japan, she'd bow like the Japanese. If you bring up a Christian in Japan, he'd behave like Japanese. There's no Japanese blood. There's blood types. There's no Jewish blood. Sometimes they say, or Spanish say, I have hot head because I have Spanish blood. There's no Spanish blood. All that's bullshit. And then you're given so much crap. You're told that people are gifted. If they're gifted, why give them a medal for it? If they're born that way. If you can open a book and remember every page on that book, then he has to read it 10 times to remember it. But you do it just naturally, without anything. It means that you have neurons in the memory region. He may have neurons dispersed in balance, in nurturing the body. In other words, we're different. You may see things in colors that I can't see. I may be colorblind, but you should never be given credit for what they call genetic characteristics.
Now, I want to know...
If you're born beautiful in this society, whatever that means. If you win a contest, that's a nothing thing. You've done nothing. If your face was made of putty and you shaped it over 4 years, you molded your face. All right, you can give her a medal. But if she's born a certain way that people say she's beautiful, she should not win a contest and hurt all the other girls that entered. Do you understand that? Now, if you work on heart disease for 10 years and you find out what doesn't work, and I read your book, and 3 months later I come up with an approach to heart problems, I get a Nobel Prize. You are just as important in that hunt. Everybody trying to find the answer to cancer, heart disease, work equally as hard or harder. If you come up with something that works, you've tried many things, something works, you get a good Nobel Prize. I'm against that. In the future, if you don't understand the end of war, the end of poverty, the end of bitterness and racism, if that isn't enough for you, the hell with you. Do you understand what I'm saying? You get your kicks out of the world you live in and your contribution that you make to the world.
Now, I want to know, regarding homosexuality, you think that's environmental or is that genetic? It's an environment? Okay.
Now, there are certain propensities set when you're very young. If your mother says, you always do things like this, you pick up a propensity toward thinking like a woman.
So what will make
now,
you...
There are men that want a son, but I got a daughter instead. So they teach the girl how to use a gun, how they take them hunting, and the girl begins to think like a male. You understand that? You don't call them a goddamn queer. They're just as normal as anybody else, brought up under different environment. You can be brought up to hate anybody, if I got you as a kid. Now, I was interested in that, and I said, well, how can I make my kid like Leonardo da Vinci?